We are back for another episode of Blueprint. Today, I decided to bring in two special guests. I see them every day, but I think their stories are pretty interesting. I have,
Yoris Flores and Summer Sill.
thank you for joining me. So, that being said, we see each other every day, but we really haven't been too intimate with each other as of yet. So, I want to take some time to get to know you guys a little bit better. And I want you guys to share your story because I think a lot of people right now will resonate with where you guys are coming from. So introduce yourselves. Who are you?
So my name's Yoris. I am a mortgage loan officer with Barrett Financial, a part of Blueprint team. And I am also a boutique owner. So I also have a clothing store with my sisters that we've had for 2 years now. So that's something about me. I'm also a big family person, so I love doing that. And I've been in the financial industry for 10 years now. So something that I never knew would be it, but I grew into that position, into that role, and it's been my passion and I really like it.
Awesome.
And I'm Summer Sill. My name is Sylvia, formerly known as Summer as well. I know a lot of people have questions about that. I've also been in the financial industry for 10 years. I actually was I was at Rocket Mortgage for about a year, and I didn't know if it was going to necessarily work out for me, so I left. And life is crazy, but I think that through troubles, you find yourself. And what I learned is that I'm going to come back to finish what I started. And I'm really excited to be part of your team. I think the biggest thing for me right now is just being around the same-minded and goal-oriented people. I'm a woman of faith. I love to garden. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. That being said, let's get into it. I think something that has caught my attention on both of you is your stories. So you both bring a real different perspective, but I think it's one that a lot of people will resonate with, especially right now with how everything is going. On one hand, we have somebody that's been in the business, but you were in a completely different model. You were in a front-facing model inside of a bank where it's semi-incubated. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Coming from a credit union and a large known credit union, you have that foot traffic, you have the way that it's more corporate, obviously, too. So they have their systems, they have the way that they do business, they have the way that they want things done, and you're creating their business, right? Whereas on this end, it's your own business. So it's not corporate, it's a 360, it's so different. So the change was it was an adjustment, right? All for the better. I would say you do run your business how you want it. And the biggest difference is now I'm building my brand and I'm building my business, my network. And that's the biggest part, is just putting yourself out there. Completely different 360.
On the other hand, we have someone that's had some experience in the business, but left the business altogether. And then you didn't just come back to the business. You actually just went all in, 100% entrepreneur, 1099 on your own, which it's interesting given with how the market is. I think that's the timing of it is peculiar. So tell me about that.
It's definitely been a challenge. I would say that it's very humbling to meet people that have also been in my shoes, because I think that there's a lot of people going through the same motions right now, transitioning from having a safe paycheck to going to absolute, like, your own individual, boss.
Schedule your own everything.
It can definitely tank your perception of things, but I think the most important thing is to not forget why you wanted to do it in the first place. At least for myself, my why is myself. And I want to prove to myself that I'm able to get past that finish line, and I am going to get it. I will be there. I think it's just also about not being afraid to ask for help and not being scared of taking risks. You'll easily find yourself surrounded by different types of people, and you just have to make sure that you're with the people that have the same core values as you. I think that's huge. For you, I think I appreciate you 100%. You owed me nothing, and you're more than willing to teach me and show me the ropes and I'm going to be forever grateful for that. Sorry.
Thank you. That's awesome. But this isn't really about me. I think you bring up a lot of good points, and I want to hit on that. What are some of the biggest obstacles, and this is to both of you, that you've encountered that you didn't really anticipate? And then what are some of the things that you've done to overcome those?
Wow. A lot of obstacles, I think, because again, it goes to that having that 360 change. One of them is always going to be your mindset, that you challenge yourself every single day. At least for mine was like that mindset of being patient, the self-doubt, all these things that come when you're doing something different. It's just nature. Like, it's going to happen. It happens to everyone. If you're doing something new, you're going to naturally have some self-doubt in there, especially if things are not going 100% how you expected it to be. So it's constantly having that faith that you are in the right path and that you are doing all the right things, and that it takes time. So for me, patience was just the biggest thing. And then just knowing, for me, was just celebrating the small wins. So I talked to 3 people today about a potential application. That was a win. I didn't have contract. That wasn't money in my pocket. No, but that was a small win. And that's what that's what I had to focus on when a couple months with no income. You don't have that salary anymore. So for me, it was that focusing on the small wins and looking at it day by day. How am I improving myself in all aspects of my life, not just in my business, but personally? How am I nurturing my mind, myself, my body, everything? How am I improving myself? Because that's going to improve my whole life in general, not just business.
I think for me, it's been a very weird paradox, knowing that this is what you're meant to do, but knowing that there has been better markets. And obviously, if you're a mortgage professional, you know that there's different waves, and it's not always going to be easy. But I think, especially right now, a lot of the clients are not well informed. They're thinking that we're in the same market that we were 5-6 years ago. And the reality of it's that we're just not there anymore. I think that's been like huge for me and the people that I talk to. They think that we're going to go back to 1.99, and we might, but we just don't know when that will be. And so rather than staying on the sideline, it's come talk to us. Let's get you a guideline of what you need to do to get to where you want to be, whether that's 6 months from now, a year from now. Let's just talk. Talking is free. And I think that's been huge for me. Another thing is just putting yourself out there, like today, not being scared of what people are going to say and the reaction of others, because you can be silly, you can be smart, you can be all of the things. But if you're not willing to put yourself out there, I think people like to see that you're personable. I think that they love seeing that you are a human being and your real self. You're not just like this crazy mortgage person and that's all that you talk about or that you post about. I think it's huge. Yodis has her own boutique, and it's amazing to see, at least in the broker side of things, it allows you to really venture out and maybe not just be in the mortgage industry, but if you have something else that you want to pursue, it gives you the room to do that. And I'm just appalled of how many people are just trying to make it out here. And I love the energy, and I can't wait to be a part of that. And hopefully we can come back like maybe a year or a few months from now and just unravel what that looks like. But
right. There's this quote from a book called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And I've told you what it is. And this is something that has just recently stuck in my head. It's engraved in it. And a boy is stuck in the woods, and he tells the horse, I can't see a way out. And the horse tells the boy, can you see your next step? And the boy says, yes. And the horse says, then just take that. And I think in sales, too many times people come into this with the end goal in mind, and all their focus is on that end goal, which I guess is the commission check. And they focus so much on that they lose sight of everything, and they enter this weird paradox where they're just chasing after that light, and it just seems like they're never getting closer. And it's because they're never focused on their next step. And you have to understand that when you come into these interesting waters where you don't really know how to navigate through them, the best thing to do is just focus on taking one step at a time, putting one foot over the other. and focusing on that, being present in that moment day in and day out. And if you do, that light is going to get closer and closer. And I have to say that when I started Blueprint, I had one other person, maybe two other people in mind that I wanted to come with me on this journey. And you both just fell into it. And I got to say, for anyone that doesn't know these ladies, I'm telling you right now, you're going to know who they are 6 months from now. These ladies
That's right.
are absolutely killers. I have to admit, like, I haven't known either of you that long, like 2 weeks, 2 months, and I'm super impressed. These ladies come in, and yes, emotions run high sometimes. It's an emotional business, but the one thing that I'm super proud of and that I love seeing is that these ladies come in and they're go. What do I got to do? I tell you on the phone, taking applicant. You've been here for 2 weeks. How many apps have you taken?
Like 20. It's insane.
How many apps have you, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
can't remember. I can't. Too much. Too many. Can't count.
to your point, like there's so many people right now that are starving to even get one app a week, and we're taking several a day. And that's something to be proud of. And I think as time goes on, you guys are going to start seeing those wins become bigger, and the money's going to come, obviously. And at my previous place, one of the things that they used to say, one of their isms was money and numbers follow, they don't lead. And I think right now you guys are just taking one step at a time and putting your one foot over the other, and a lot of good things are happening, and you're starting to see that. So it's awesome.
Yes. I agree. Good job.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I think
been a
too.
boom.
Yeah, I think we do have a really good team dynamic. And I think that's something that really helps us move forward in all aspects. We have everyone kind of lives where they stand. So I think that is awesome and great to be a part of it. And again, yeah, it's like we fumbled, like it wasn't like I met you. It just happened. So I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. And whatever doesn't happen is also for a reason. And one of the biggest mindset shifts I've done in the last 6 months is things are happening for you, not to you. And if you really can understand that, even especially when you're going through such a hard time that you're thinking like, why me? Why is this happening? Just taking a step back and understanding, why is this happening? What is it teaching me? And then just gratitude. Thank you. Thank you, because it's working out for you, not to you.
100%.
And just to piggyback off of what you were talking about, I think even for myself, I would see all these people that were making all this buttload of money, and I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. I want to leave my career that I have, and I want to start doing that. But I think what we failed to realize is that there's a transition period where you just have to be this sponge. And you can't be scared of a no. You can't be scared of somebody that's upset with you. You can't be scared of not knowing, and you have to be willing to learn and just put your head down. For me, in the past 6 months, I've came to the realization that there's a period where I'm just in the now. I'm just here to learn, to gather all the information that I need to become my successful self, and then my harvest will follow. I'm not going to determine when that will be. I know that it will come. There's no questions asked, but I think that's the thing that I failed the first time around trying to be in the industry. So if you're out there and you've tried it and you're like, you know what, this is not for me, it's too hard. I've gone months on end without pay. I've been there. I know how it feels. And I can also tell you to get back up and give it another try, because unless you try, you're not going to know whether or not you're going to make it. And believe me, you're going to make it. Just make sure that you find the people, the team that is willing to put those extra hours in for you, and have the respect and the transparency to tell you how things really are in the industry. And I think that's something huge that I wish somebody would have told me just up front.
Yeah, it's tough. This business is tough. And I feel like in the beginning, everyone just jumps in because of the money.
Right.
I think all of us could agree. That's why we got into the business. And in the beginning, it's always about that. But as time goes on, as you hit a couple snags in the road, you come to realize that it's more than just that. Like, the money's going to come, but the most important part about this business and what separates the good from the bad is really you come to this understanding that this business isn't about money. It's about relationships.
Right.
It's a relational business at the end of the day. What within the team, within your clients, with your agents, your referring partners, it's all about relationships and harvesting those relationships and just continue to grow them and seek them out. And everything else will fall into place once you come to that conclusion that this is what this is about. We're doing this for this reason. It's all a team dynamic with yourself, with myself, with our agents, with our clients. We all have to move in sync in order to reach that end goal. One thing that I'm curious about is what led you guys into the business? You both have different stories, similar but very different. What was it that led you into this? How did you catch wind of the business?
For me, I was at the bank for 10 years. I literally did everything from teller, banker, home equity loans, processing. Then I went into the management side of things. I was pretty much already in management, and I was there for some time. And I had a lot of family members that were doing very well. And it was like, oh my God, what are they doing? How can I do that? And how do I get started? But I also had a lifelong career that I built, right? Nobody was just like, hey, come be a manager. I built my way there. So I, for 2 months, cried about, do I leave? Do I stay? I have a very good steady paycheck, right? Like I have credibility here. I know what I'm doing. I'm leading a team. I'm helping people day in, day out. I've been in affluent demographics. I've been in the lower income demographics. So, some people you have to hold their hands. Some people you have to carry them to the finish line. And all of that came from my experience from working at the bank. And I finally decided one day, I woke up and I was like, I deserve better. I am going to get there. I just wasn't exactly sure how I was going to get to the finish line, in other words. I had a lot of people that told me great things about Quicken Loans, Rocket Mortgage. They painted a beautiful picture. And one thing led to another, and I just ended up taking the leap of faith. It was a really weird transition, I will say, because of COVID. A lot of it was like at home, and sometimes it was like in office, but it wasn't like an all in office thing. So it was a lot of self-teaching and just being at home. For all of those people that you're like, hey, I don't know if I could do it just being at my house, or you need to be at an office. I understand that. I went through that. That's how I led or stumbled upon the business myself.
Gotcha.
So similar to her, I started shortly after high school. I started as a teller, part-time teller at the credit union, and quickly moved up to full-time teller, then banker. And I think for me, that banker position really brought it out of me that I was good at sales, that I liked it. And it's when my drive and my just everything, I was like, wow, I'm good at this. And I liked it and I enjoyed it. And I was just amazing. I was 20 years old making more than your average person, your average salary, let alone someone in my age. So I was feeling amazing, and I was even more motivated to do more. I bought my first house at age 20. I loved the process. I loved my loan officer. She did an amazing job. I still remember going into her office and her explaining me all this stuff. And I'm sitting there super motivated that I'm doing so well here and there. And I'm like, oh my God, I can see myself doing her job. I'm already doing auto loans and home equities, and I'm already doing this. I'm like, I can see myself doing that. So at that moment, I knew that's what I want to do next. So I had just started being a banker. So I was like, all right, I need to show myself, right? So I needed to keep my numbers high. And within a month, I was top performer. Who's Yodi's baby? Flores Ortiz, by the way, that's my full name. Go by Yodi's for short. So it was just kind of like quick. It was just quick. And 2 years in a row, won the Golden Circle, being top performer. The opportunity came up to become a loan officer, and I applied, and that's when it was. And it was 2020. So it was like booming business. It was just, at that time, it was just pick up a phone. You can pick up the phone, collect the docs, and it was a pretty easy thing. That's how it happened for me. When I started as a part-time teller, I'm like, this is my part-time job while it gets me to college. I'm not staying here. This is not my career. And I would say that all the time. And look at me now. It became my career, and I found it. So I just found it in the process of just growing. And that company did see me grow. And like I said, I think that banker position is what brought that drive in me that I didn't know I had, and I had it. So that's how I was. And then 2021 rates hiked on us, and it's a different market. Now the calls are not coming in. So that was something to adapt to, which I think every market has different skill sets that you can develop, and every market has different benefits for both the buyers, the sellers, everything. So I just fell in love with it, with the process and what I do. And I think, yes, like you mentioned, at first we're doing it for the money and you're thinking, wow, I can make this. But once you're in the process, again, you fall in love with the process. It's the most rewarding part is when the buyer texts you like, thank you so much for helping me.
Yeah.
Or just this other day, it wasn't a complete close, but I had a consultation with a buyer and he had gone somewhere else already, had gone pre-approved, came in here. And as soon as he left, he texted me and he was like, hey, I really appreciate your attention. I felt really comfortable. You explained everything for me. And to me, like, even like I get the chills right now because I was just like, that is why I'm here, because I am here to help you guys. And that's the most rewarding part. Like you said, the money, everything else does follow, but I did fall in love with the financial industry and I fell in love with this process. And that's how I'm here.
I can't remember where I heard this quote, but it was like, measure your success by how many people you bless. And as of lately, especially the people that I've been assisting at least, it's a lot of the loans that people don't want to work. It's like a lot of the, oh my God, that's going to take forever. It's going to take a lot of explaining. It's going to take a lot of hand holding. But I can tell you one thing, the reward that comes with doing those loans and getting the messages like Yoris was saying of how grateful they are because you took the time to sit down and explain everything to them. It's just so rewarding.
Yeah, we're here helping them achieve such a big dream, achieve home ownership. And that's just awesome, especially those first-time home buyers. And even when you're buying the second property, that you're helping them build that wealth. And I think since I made the switch from being in the credit union to over here being in the broker side, you realize how much opportunity there is in real estate, like endless. You go to networking events, you see this, you see that, and you just see that opportunity is endless, and it amazes me how awesome it is.
I love the fire.
I know, I gotta get worked up.
I'm getting inspired. I think to this point, we've gone over a little bit of the hardships. We've gone over the philosophical side of things. I think everyone is probably pretty interested in how you went from not really doing anything when you first came out and when you ventured into this side of things to now you guys are literally on the phone all day. What are some things that 1, 2, or 3 things that you guys have done to build that pipeline into what it is right now? And it's growing. Like, not a humble brag, and I'm very proud, is we started with 3 LOs, and within the last 30 days, we've gotten 20 clients and under contract. That's it.
Yeah, amazing.
Now we have 5 LOs, and we're going to build off of that momentum, but we're doing something. So I'm sure everyone wants to know, what are you guys doing?
I think for myself was making sure that everything that I'm doing is filled with intent, right? That I'm not just doing all these crazy tasks and there's nothing behind the task that I'm doing. For me, it was really putting the time to go do an open house, whether that's 2-3 times a week, every weekend, putting in the time, being that asset to the realtor and having a lender on the spot that you can get a pre-approval right then and there. Not being scared of, hey, am I going to get one person through the door? Or am I going to get 12? It's just, I'm going to do it because I know that, like I was saying before, the clients will come to you. Everything will come to you. It's a boomerang effect. Also is really just putting yourself out there, right? If you have social media, if you have friends, family, wherever you're going, it's, I am an LO. This is what I do. This is what I love to do. Get to know me. Put yourself out there. People remember that. Send your information. Don't be scared to personalize a message. Go through your contacts. Go through your followers. Post every day. It's very much about post every day. It's very much about a routine that you have, right? So you have to be conscious of, hey, am I doing this twice a week? Who's going to see this? Who's going to view it? What audience is this for? And all of that plays a big role as to, like, I've gotten 5 messages on Instagram already, which it might not be a lot, but it's something. That means people are starting to realize, oh, she is doing something. She is putting in the work. She's putting herself out there. And believe it or not, guys, like, that takes so much. I don't know if we can cuss. I'm like, it takes a lot of guts, or I was going to say balls, but it takes a lot of guts to put yourself out there and just do the damn thing and just do it. For me, I feel like That's been a great thing also. And then lastly, I think it's just like getting to know the realtors that you want to work with, right? There's a lot of people, you guys, that have the same mindset as you, that will work the crazy hours, that will go to a networking event. They will go to the farmer's market. They will, like, literally anywhere, and they will set up shop with you because they're hungry. They want to help people. They want to do all the things that you want to do, right? And then there's people that are more of a coasting. So you just have to find that balance of, so are you a coaster? Are you somebody, that's willing to work and not be scared of reaching out, making those partnerships? And how are you setting yourself apart from every other loan officer out there? I consistently hear it's like, I don't get an answer quick enough. They're not picking up the phone. It's taking them days to respond back to me. And I've heard that on multiple occasions from different realtors. For me, at least, I pick up my phone. I answer the emails. I'm giving you the answers that you need, and that's what's going to set me apart from everybody else out there. And I know a few of you guys that have already worked for me. You can vouch for me. A lot of my text messages are like, hey, you're great. You respond so quickly. Thank you for all of the information. But those are just a few things off the top of my head that I personally have been doing.
Yeah, same thing, Tito, to that. I think that's awesome. And definitely putting yourself out there, getting uncomfortable to become comfortable, because with everything you gotta get out of the comfort zone. That's for sure. I also have to understand that I'm coming over here, like we had said earlier, you have to be a sponge and you have to be open to learning and knowing that you don't know everything over here. Maybe you came from a place where you feel like you knew everything. I think George can comment on that. But yeah, so you have to almost be willing to learn, and that's the biggest thing. And for me to social media, like she said before, I wouldn't really say, especially like friends, family, if I was somewhere, I wouldn't really say, oh, this is what I do and I've come to do that, or going to networking events, doing all the things that, thank you cards, all these things that you're just constantly learning. And I personally have been on a personal development journey for quite some time now. So I also read a lot, but I've started to read more on this aspect of the business. Reading is huge. Just, again, going back to what I said, is like feeding your mind. And I think that helps, because you do have to have that personal development in here, because there's just so much to, like you said, it's an emotional transaction and you're dealing with different parties. And that's the opportunity that you get to work and network with different parties. And I think for me, it's just making sure, like she said, how are you different and how am I adding value to my borrowers and how am I adding value to my business partners? And I think that's the biggest thing. And again, putting yourself out there and being yourself, because I think that's the biggest thing. I would say that I'm in doing my own, being my own 1099 self-employed. I have almost feel better at showing my personality, wearing these bright colors, like whereas at the credit union, future so bright. Whereas the credit union or anywhere else, I would probably feel like, oh, this is too much. I know I'm in a corporate setting. Whereas I'm putting my personality out there a little bit more. And I think that's huge. And I love that.
I agree. When I was in a different stage of my career, I would say a year ago, it was complete. I was more so where you guys are at right now. And I was in a coaching call, and the host was, I'm going to give him a quick plug, Andrew Marquis. He's consistently been like the number 6 or 7 LO in the country. He's at Cross Country Mortgage. And he was just talking about how he runs his business. In this year, he had originated right around $1 billion in business, which is absolutely
That's awesome.
Insane. Self-source, all like just his business. And I was just absolutely blown away that someone could do that was possible. And at the end of it, he said, I'm open. If you guys have any questions, reach out. And he left his email. And at that time in my life, in my career, I was a little bit lost. So I'm going to take you up on that. So I emailed him, and sure enough, not even an hour later, he responded back to me. And I had asked him, like, when you were in my position at the beginning of your career, because I can't measure up to where you're at now, what were some of the things that you did? How did you jumpstart your business? How did you go from 1 to 5? And his response was pretty simple. He said, I can go into all of these different things that I did, but the short answer is activity breeds activity. And that's always stuck, and it's always hit home with me. And what I'm hearing here is if you stay active, you're going to receive activity. It's that simple. As long as you're consistently doing activities and you're putting yourself out there, you're going to breed more activities, you're going to breed more exposure, and good things are going to happen. I think that's always something you guys have heard me say that a million times, and I'm going to keep saying it as we continue to grow, and it's so true, and I see it, and this is what's happening here.
Yeah, I think it's like a lot of people like maybe what you went in, or we look someone who's so successful or that we look up to. It's like, what's the secret sauce? And I really do think that the secret to success is hitting in your daily tasks. What are you doing day in, day out? What are you doing every single day? Like you said, how do you have a system in place? How are you? Secret is in the daily habits, like what you're doing day to day, not once in a while.
100%.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think we're going to cut it there. I want to thank you guys for coming on, you ladies, sorry. And I think at the end of these podcasts, I like to leave with a call to action, as my friend Ben would say. So what is your call to action?
Community, this is Summer Sill. And if you're looking to refinance, purchase, friends, family, anybody out there, hit me up, call me, send me an email. And remember to be gentle with yourself in every step of the way, because that is the biggest thing in loving yourself. No matter what happens to you or what people say, just make sure that you stick to that. Y con Diosito todo se puede.
Sí se puede. Yes, so same. I'm here. You guys can follow me at AZ Mortgage Gal, Yoris Flores. I'll be posting in there. And if you guys, any questions at all, we're here.
Summer,
Yes.
Where can people find you?
Oh, what did I say?
Summer Sill.
You can find me on Instagram, summer.sill, or Sylvia at Barrett Financial.
Awesome. Ladies, thank you again. And LOs can be friends.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
The sun comes out for everyone. Thanks for having us here,
Abundance.
George. And thank you for your leadership as well.